Questions to ask on a call during the sales discovery process. Look, we all know that closing calls is the sexy thing about sales. They're the calls where deals get moved across the line, contracts get signed, and commission checks go right into your pocket as a result of all the hard work. And next thing you know, bam, you are buying steak dinners for everyone because you had an amazing month as a salesperson. Now, to get there, however, you'll need to first take your prospect through the entire sales process, beginning with a discovery call just to get it started. Discovery calls are important because they increase the chances of a closed or won deal later on down the line. Now, depending on who you sell to and what you sell, you could spend 10 to 20 hours with your prospect. Because of the time commitment, you should have a good idea whether the deal will close and really how much will you make on that deal. More importantly, if you should even be spending your time on this prospect or not. Luckily, you can find out from the start what a discovery call is and the best questions that you could ask to uncover whether your prospect is going to be a good fit. So let's get started. What is a discovery call? Well, a discovery call is the first call that you make after connecting with a prospect from either a call, over an email, or them filling out a form to contact you. Now, during the discovery call, you ask the prospect a series of questions so that you can uncover their needs, their challenges, and goals as it relates to your product or service. It's the first step in the sales qualification process. And make no mistake, in many cases, the discovery call is in fact the most important step in the sales process. It sets the tone for the entire relationship, both pre and post-sale. Either you'll be able to establish an authoritative relationship, or you'll be stuck playing catch-up and you'll never really be understanding their needs, or you won't even have any rapport with them. I've had deals that I thought would be relatively standard, and because I didn't do a deep dive in the discovery phase, they ended up being unduly complex, and it was a colossal waste of everyone's time, mine included. The importance of the discovery call can't be overstated. I'm now going to tell you why. Why are discovery calls important? Well, discovery calls are crucial for the sales professionals to understand the details of the prospect's situation. Now, luckily, most prospects are okay with participating in a discovery call as long as it's not really some sort of interrogation and you're asking them unrelated questions. Now, here are some benefits of an actual discovery call. Number one, prospects will better understand your business and the product that you offer. The goal is for the prospect to leave the discovery call knowing not only who you are, but what your company is all about. They should also have a good understanding of how your company can solve their problem and address their pain points. Now, they might still have specific questions about a product or a feature or maybe even a term. And this now gives you an opportunity to gauge and so that you can now capture their interest. This is the time frame that you should be establishing rapport, as well as planting the seed for future communication via a follow-up call or meeting in person to finalize the transaction. Always remember that having solid product knowledge and making sure that you find common ground is critical so that you can effectively engage prospects during the discovery call. Number two, you're going to be able to help them with their situation and help them achieve success. If you are effective with your initial discovery call, the prospect is going to be assured that you not only understand their problem, but now you're going to be able to make a professional assessment so that you can now determine if you can help them or not. By doing this, you're going to be able to show them that you're invested in their success and not just getting the money to put in your pocket. You also are going to have to establish rapport with them, and you're going to have to make sure that you answer their questions of any major concern or minor. This is so that they are interested and excited in the next step in your sales process. Oftentimes, many salespeople are so excited about the possibility of a new close that they don't even do their own due diligence on the prospect themselves. Always be sure, double check any information that's already associated with the prospect in your organization's sales software if you have any. I suggest that you look through your company's CRM or lead management tool to ensure that you're well acquainted with the prospect's business. Number 3, determine your ratio of success. The discovery call will give you an opportunity to qualify your prospect and determine their business pain, their influence within the organization so that they can make a decision to move forward, and their willingness to advocate for your product and their preliminary attitude towards purchasing your product, service, concept, or idea versus a competitor's. The list of benefits can really go on and on, but let's get right to it. Below, I have listed my discovery questions. Now, you won't be able to cover every question on every single call. And look, let's be honest, it might not make sense to even try to. You'll see that they're all going to be a fit and they're all open loop questions. And that's because open loop questions do a better job of getting the prospect to talk beyond a simple yes or a no answer. You want to qualify your prospect using the following questions and disqualify at any point if it becomes clear that they're a bad fit and not a fit for your product or service. Discovery questions. The questions I'm going to talk about are separated into 4 different subsections within the sales discovery process. Setting the stage, qualifying the prospect, disqualifying the prospect, and establishing the next step. So let's take a closer look. Discovery process. The discovery process is your first step in the connect phase of the sales process. In the sales discovery process, you're going to research your prospect, connect by phone or maybe a virtual meeting, and then you want to ask them key qualifying questions. Answer any questions that they may have, solve their challenges, and hopefully this is the time that you'll be able to move them along in the sales process. Let's assign each of the questions to the appropriate part of the sales discovery process. Questions that set the stage. This is where you validate your research and now you learn about the customer situation. This is going to give you the proper insight that you need so that you can move forward. Number 1, tell me about your company. Now, this seemingly simple question begins with an easy topic, the prospect's own company. And this gives them a chance to introduce themselves in their own terms. But be careful. If you ask this question too early, it might seem like you didn't do any research at all. Begin by stating what you already know about them. Then you ask the question so that they can build upon your description of their business. And also, this is when you would want to congratulate them on anything that you can link back to them on their company or their success. Now remember, many times people are feeling vulnerable at this point. So any positive feedback or any type of reinforcement is a great way for you to start establishing rapport. As long as obviously it's not fake or too over the top. Number 2, tell me about your role. I would love to hear what you do day to day. With this question, you can begin to find out more about the actual person, not the business. This is in a more casual way with low pressure. There's no need to dive into the nitty-gritty, and the best part is that they'll be excited to share. This is when you are asking questions about them and you're establishing rapport, and it's just as important, if not more important, to the person that you're talking to make sure that they like you. Remember, people do business with who they like. If you are taking a genuine interest in them, well, now they're going to be more apt to like you, and eventually they'll want to do business with you because of that. Number 3, what job role and responsibilities are you responsible for? Here's where the pressure begins to mount. If they don't touch on what they're responsible for during the previous question, then this will uncover that information. Note that the words role and responsibility is very important here since you're asking about their measure of success. Now, the follow-up question is to ask them how they quantify this so that it's not opinion-based, but it's actually factual based on data and numbers. This way, you can quantify how much your product or service can actually increase that metric. It's very important to ask this question and to understand where their issue or maybe where their pain point is, and let it just sit there for a moment to let them understand the severity of the issue. Questions that qualify after you've learned about your prospect. It's time to now identify their goals and more deeply understand and let them clarify their pain points. Learn about their problems so that you can solve the problem for the customer. Number 4, tell me about your goals, financial, customer related, or operational. I always suggest that you put a timeline to your question. For example, tell me about your goals for the next month, maybe the next quarter, or the next year. Choose a timeline depending on the implementation process or the cycle time of your product. For example, if you sell a one-time product or possibly a service that takes 6 months to set up, well, you might change your timeline questions to fit what your offer is. Number 5, what is the date that you need to achieve these goals by? While the prior question might hint at a timeline that they have, well, this question now explicitly asks when your product must achieve the goal by and its definite end date. A yearly goal might be to increase company revenue by 5% year over year, but the cutoff date for that is in 3 months, just in time for the new year. Sometimes people can be so busy being busy that they actually forget what the actual timeline and cutoffs are until it actually is upon them. Now, many times, people choose to ignore deadlines and dates, and now, because of their lack of planning, it now becomes a rushed emergency on their part. Number 6, what problem are you trying to solve? If this question seems vague to you, that's because it's meant to be that way. You really never know what challenge or issue the prospect has, and it's ultimately trying to solve their problem, not yours. Sometimes a prospect can be talking or venting about an issue, but that's not the actual problem. It could be a derivative of a much bigger problem, or possibly they don't really know what the main issue is, and that's what you can actually help them solve. By giving them a chance to bring up any problems that they're facing, you can now find out their business challenges at a much more overarching level. And now you can offer them solutions that no one has been able to give them until now. This makes you that much more valuable to them when you're using this strategy. Number 7, are you having problems in an area as it relates to your product? Now, this question gets a little more specific because you're digging deeper into the root cause of their issue. You should still keep it open-looped, but now you're diving and driving them towards a distinct area of the business pain so that you can solve it. While this is a yes or no question, it is going to prompt the prospect to think more deeply about their challenges. Be prepared to have a follow-up and deeper questions based on this one question that you asked. Often, there can be self-reflecting and quite possibly seeing the defeat in someone's eyes as they answer this question. And this is not normally a new problem, but it's one that they've been struggling with, and they just cannot resolve it on their own. If they could, let's face it, they probably would not be talking to you about their challenges. Number 8, what's the source of the problem? It's important to make sure that the follow-up question is there to uncover their pain points or areas of friction. A prospect may know what their problem is, but if you don't understand why they're having the problem, you're not going to be able to hone in on that as a source of something that you're going to be able to eliminate. Think of it like when you go to a doctor and you tell them you're hurting. What's the first thing they're going to want to know? Well, they're going to want to know, where does it hurt? Then they normally will ask a follow-up question based on what it is that you tell them and the answer that you give them. Knowing the source of the problem is key to creating an irresistible offer for them. The key to increasing your conversion rate with prospects is really knowing their issues as well as their problems as they see them. You don't want it from your eyes. You focus more on the solution for them after they tell you where the pain is. Let me ask you, why hasn't this been addressed before? Knowing the roadblocks your prospect has faced and solving the problem can hint at the roadblocks that they're facing now, or it could potentially face in the future. It's extremely important to make sure that when you ask this question, you're doing it from a position of being cautious and caring, not accusatory and dismissive. You want to ask the question so that the prospect feels like you're trying to actually help them solve the problem from a team perspective, trying to just help them out. For instance, if your prospect tells you that the budget has been the main issue why this has not been addressed in the past, well, then you'll know to focus on just that. And now you can make sure that you're adding as much value as you can to justify the price point for your offer. Number 10, what do you think could be a potential solution and why? With this question, you'll find out how the prospect envisions resolving the problem even without your product. You can also understand how you can bring your product as a solution once you've actually understand how they see some other potential solutions. You never want to offer a solution if it's way off course of how they see the problem being solved, unless they tell you that they just don't know and that's why you're there. If that does happen, well, now you're one step closer to closing them because they have basically surrendered all their thoughts and all their ideas to you. Number 11, what does a successful outcome look like to you? Here, you'll find out what their image of success looks like. And is it realistic? Is it something your product could actually help them achieve? I suggest you always listen without any judgment, but be sure to take notes of what they're saying and how they see the end results. This is what's called future pacing, and you're now getting them to see a positive result. Your job now is to link that positive result to your product or service. Now, when they tell you how it looks to them, you can now use this in your solution-based close by future pacing them to how much better their job, life, or whatever it is or issue will be once they use what you offer. Number 12, what are you going to do if you can't solve this problem? You ask this question to find out, in a different way, just how urgently they need their product so that it can solve their challenges. If they say they don't have a plan in place and they can't envision solving the problem another way, well, then they are most definitely a good fit prospect. Also, this is taking away your product to see what their options are from their perspective. You want to understand their frame of mind and their urgency in the matter so that you can now gauge how serious and how quickly they are about moving forward with your offer as a solution.